All right. Hello, everybody. My name is Heather Butt. So I am the chair of the Staten Island Hunger Task Force. Thank you so much for being here with us today. Just want to take a minute to thank all of the candidates for being here. We really appreciate you and appreciate your time. And I want to give a huge thank you to the Staten Island Hunger Task Force for being here and being so responsive and so helpful with this project, which was quite the undertaking. I also just want to make it very clear that we reached out to all of the candidates' offices. I'm sure some of you are tired of hearing from me because you've probably gotten upwards of 15 emails from me. Um, one candidate's office might have said as much to me. Basically said, please go away. But hopefully through all of that, you were able to get the information because you're here, but just wanted to make it clear that we reached out to all candidates' offices, and we're happy that we have the diversity of candidates here that we do. I'm just going to read the rules for this forum, and then I'm going to hand it over to our fabulous moderators, Chris Dowling and Antoinette Dunnigan, to take it away. I also, at the end, will talk about some of what we're doing with the Staten Island Hunger Task Force, but this organization has a very illustrious history of helping those in need, especially those who are the most food insecure among us. And so it's an honor to be able to continue that legacy as chair. And I will say that our organization is in the process of obtaining our 501c3. So that's going to be an exciting moment for us, and we'll keep you updated on that. All right, so Staten Island Hunger Task Force candidate form guidelines and rules. No campaign. No campaign banners.
I'm right behind you.
Oh, I'm gonna put you on mute there, Delilah. Delilah did it for me. All right, Staten Island Hunger Task Force candidate form guidelines and rules. No campaign banners, signs, literature, handouts, or other campaign paraphernalia will be allowed in the virtual forum. The audience will be asked to refrain from demonstrating support or non-support for a candidate. Because this is a virtual platform, audience members will be muted. Questions will be solicited from our membership. So you'll be getting questions from our committee and our board members and our Food for All members. We did provide 3 of the questions in advance to you, mainly so that you could prepare for that. So just wanted to let you know, in fairness, we thought that that was fair to provide you with questions so that you could do some due diligence. The moderator will introduce the candidates using name and where you're running. And the order of opening and closing statement of question will be randomly selected prior to the forum. We have already done that. So the order is random. Just you ended up where you did, with the one exception being Mohan will be going first for the opening. Candidates will be asked the same question and have the same time to answer. Each candidate will have 2 minutes to respond to each question. Please try to stay within the 2-minute time frame. We're expecting a few more candidates, so we want to make sure that everybody has time. Time limits on responses will be strictly observed. The moderator will have the responsibility of enforcing the time limits and will be assisted by Susan Fowler, who's a member of our board. The moderators will have authority to interrupt the proceedings to enforce the ground rules and format agreed upon by all candidates. I just know we won't have to do that because everybody's just going to abide by the rules, and it's going to be fantabulous. The moderator may restate the question but will not ask a follow-up question. The candidates will not interrupt one another. Again, I don't foresee a problem here with that. Candidates should refrain from personal attacks, or charges, and answers should remain focused on relevant food policy topics. This is really important. We really want to focus on the food policy issues. So try not to veer too much off into other topics because we're really here today to talk about food policy. You will have 2 minutes for closing. So in addition to your opening statement, you will have 2 minutes for closing statement. And the way we're running now, hopefully you'll have maybe you'll have a couple of extra minutes if none of your other colleagues show up. All right, so with that, I'm going to hand it over.
Actually,
yes.
I'm good with the time. I thought I had to leave, but I have good. You can pick anybody who wants to go first. I'm good.
It's
Thank
okay.
you.
we'll keep it in the order that it's in because it's still decently random. So it's totally fine. We'll keep it in that order. I appreciate that though, Mohan. I'm glad you'll be able to be with us for the whole time. By the way, Mohan, just as an aside, I always call Mohan Mohan, even though I know that's his last name. It's just a habit. So
That's the name I'll go with. Thank you.
Oh, okay, cool. Okay. All right. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to Chris Dowling and Antoinette Dunnigan, and they can take it away. Chris, I think you're on mute. In fact, I know you're on mute.
Thank you for that. Thank you, everybody, for coming today. And as Heather said, this is important for us to get through some and see where our positions are so that people can make fair and equitable judgments. And we're going to start off with your opening statements, which you each have 2 minutes to go through. So I will read off your name when you're done. I will, assume that you're done because you stopped talking, and then I'll introduce the next candidate. So first up, as we said, we have Radhakrishna Mohan from the 50th District City Council race. Please do your opening speech.
Oh, thank you, sir, Mr. Dowling. My name is Radha Krishna Mohan, and I told Mr. Butts that I go with Mohan. That's the name I go with. Thank you. And with that, I entered in this race of District 50 for Mid Island, and my experience is I've been a labor union leader for the last 27 years, and I also part of the NYPD Police Council for the last 16 years, and I'm also part of the community board for more than 15 years. So this experience, and I'm also part of the DS Hate Crime Task Force and Interfaith Leaders. So I've been playing various roles just with the passion of working and doing the best for the community. I want to give back to the community. And my background is I'm an IT specialist for working for New York State Insurance Department with 30 years of service with the technology. And I'm also a union leader as a trustee of my PEF union with the 50,000 members. And these things give me a big exposure and experience. It's not that I would like to, I'm getting in this race with my experience to share my experience, what I gain to give back to the community. I'm like, so helping the community is always my passion. Always I'm there doing my best. And that gives me the biggest satisfaction, how I serve the community, what differences I make. And looking here in Staten Island, there are so many things we can make a difference. Staten Island is very the way it is located, the close to the city. We have so much we can do in the Staten Island, and we would like to tap the best resources in Staten Island to get the Staten Island to be the best. It's not going to be a forgotten borough. And that's the way people think that Staten Island is a forgotten borough, but that should not be the case.
Mohan,
That's one.
Mohan, I'm sorry, your time is up.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you too.
Susan Fowler is timekeeper extraordinaire. Just to bring that out there. So.
It's tough. Thank you so much, Mohan. And up next, we have Mike Colombo running for the borough president position.
Thank you so much, Chris. Dr. Butts, Susan, thank you so much for having me and for the important work you're doing. Thank you to my fellow candidates for joining us. I want to give a special shout out to Councilman Frank Morano. Too often we jump on these calls, and unfortunately it is one-sided on the Democrat side. But hunger and food insecurity is not a partisan matter. It's a bipartisan matter. My name is Mike Colombo. I am running for borough president. I'm a dad. I'm a father. I'm a husband. I'm a professional. I'm not a politician. And that's part of why I'm doing this and why this is so important. For me, borough president is a nonpartisan job. Other offices on Staten Island, you're looking at legislation, dealing with specific groups and forwarding their efforts and what's best for them. Borough president for me is more about our values as Staten Islanders. and it's about family. Uh, I come from an Italian background, so for me, food is especially important because food is love. Food, sitting around the dinner table with friends, with family, that's just part of our everyday life. And the fact that there are people on our island that do not have that readily available is a travesty and something that we as public servants all need to work together to solve. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Sorry, excuse me. And our next candidate will be Frank Morano, who is running for the 51st District City Council race. Please take it away, Frank.
Thank you, Chris. And I appreciate the shout out, Mike. And one of the great criticisms and challenges that I've had since becoming a candidate has been that I always tend to be a little long-winded, as I'm sure my friend Cliff Hagan can attest. So I am going to try to be as respectful of the clock as I can. Thank you to the Staten Island Hunger Task Force for hosting this forum. I was elected just 5 weeks ago, so the paint is still drying on some of the office walls and not even painted in the other office walls. So I didn't run to sit back and observe. I ran to take action, like I'm sure a lot of the other candidates here made the decision to run. And when it comes to hunger on Staten Island, I think action is exactly what we need. Now, I believe, as Mike said, I might be the only Republican in this virtual stage today, and I'm glad to be here because I don't think that hunger or food insecurity is a partisan issue at all. I think it's a human one. And if we can't come together around making sure our neighbors have enough to eat, then what are we even doing? I represent the South Shore, place full of hardworking families, strong values, and yes, real need. The fact that there are food pantries operating in the South Shore in places like Tottenville, Eltingville, Great Kills tells you something. It tells you that hunger isn't just a problem somewhere else, it's a problem here too. And quietly, it's a problem. And the work that the Staten Island Hunger Task Force is doing is absolutely essential, not just uptown or mid island, but especially on the South Shore. So I want to thank you for feeding people, for fighting stigma, and for reminding all of us that dignity, compassion, and common sense can all go hand in hand. So tonight, I'm not just here to talk about food insecurity, I'm here to talk about what we can do about it together. And I'm eager to work with everybody here, the candidates and the Staten Island Hunger Task Force, to make sure that the residents of the South Shore are well served when it comes to food insecurity.
Perfect.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it,
Very
Frank.
kind.
Thank you.
And next up, we have Abu Takate, who is also running in the 49th District City Council race. Please take it away, Abu.
Thank you, Christopher. So before I start my introduction, I just wanted to take this opportunity to say that I'm thrilled to be here, grateful to participate in this debate hosted by our fellow friends, advocate, organizer. The Staten Island Hunger Task Force has started the job, and I just learned today that they're waiting to get their 501c3, but they already made a huge difference in the community. So my name is Abusi Jahate. I am an advocate organizer, and I stand before you this afternoon to say that I'm humbled and inspired by the resilience, the diversity, and the determination that define the Staten Island North Shore, but also the Staten Island community at large. Using this platform is meaningful to me because for over the 20 years, I have dedicated my time, my effort to support initiatives related to fight food insecurity in our district. And my track record can say it all. But I think food insecurity is not just about hunger. It's about dignity, as Frank just said. It's about equity. It's about access. On the North Shore, we see higher rate of food insecurity, especially among senior, among working family who struggle, who take their 3 paycheck just to go to supermarket to get a piece of bag just to take home. And How far have you done to support initiatives such as Project Hospitality, to support initiatives like Community Health Action of Staten Island? This is unacceptable in one on the wealthiest city in the world that people struggle, and that struggle is real. You can count on me because I'm in the field every single day to go to food pantry program to make sure that nobody is left behind.
I move the
Yes,
time's up.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Abu. And our last candidate who's currently here would be Cliff Hagan from the 51st District City Council race. Please take it away, Cliff.
All right, very good. Thank you, Chris. Yeah, so I'm Cliff Hagan, the Democrat candidate for City Council in District 51. Thanks for offering this opportunity to speak with your membership at the Staten Island Hunger Task Force. More important, thank you for all of the amazing work you guys are doing, actively engaging the community and government in your effort to make sure that no child goes to school hungry. Thank you for working to guarantee that no family need go a single day without food. Thank you for all of that. So when I first graduated college back in 1991, I took a job at a nonprofit advocating for adults with developmental disabilities. Annual salary, $11.5, less than $7 an hour, about $7 an hour. I was a college graduate, full-time employment, paying my rent, paying my bills, and I was food insecure. I was very fortunate. I took full advantage of a food pantry in the Berries that got me through those couple of years. Eventually, I got a good union job, right? A good, secure salary, benefits, a pension. I began a career as a teacher of special education with the Department of Education. I have been blessed and now share in the effort to alleviate the debilitating impacts of food insecurity. In City Council, I work to fully support CFCs, find creative ways to supplement the millions to billions of dollars being cut and recalled from the USDA. Hunger is all consuming, mind, body, soul. No one can be expected to perform well at school or at work carrying the undue burdens of hunger. We have to address the food insecurity as a matter of life and death, as a matter of conscience. No one should have to go hungry. Hopefully tonight's conversation moves the needle a little bit towards alleviating food insecurities. I'm looking forward to the conversation. Thank you.
And Chris, I believe Sarah Blass is here.
And Troy McGee is from Camilla Hanks's office.
Oh,
Troy McGee is running for Congress. He's not from Camilla Hanks's office.
right.
Yeah, and he's not on the agenda, but we like you anyway, Troy.
Yeah, yeah.
So then we do have one more person to speak, and that would be Sarah Blass, who is also running in the 49th District Council race. Sarah, in case you weren't aware, did she disappear? Oh, there she is. Hi, Sarah. You moved on my screen. You were gone. So, Sarah, we're just doing a 2-minute opening pitch at the moment. And take it away.
Hello, everyone. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Sarah Blass, pronounced she and her. Forgive me for the background noise. I am bouncing from in-person to virtual endorsement interviews right now. So thank you so much for the invitation and putting this together. I have been on Staten Island for 20 years. My first job on Staten Island was actually with 1199 as an in-home hospice care worker, providing services for our senior citizens. That's really when I fell in love with public health, with the nonprofit sector, and advocating for a lot of the health needs that many of the seniors in our district still have issues with. I'm running for City Council in D49 because I want to bring all of my experience in not just caring for our seniors and the public health sector, but also in the workforce sector and education and advocacy, and continue to make the North Shore shine a little bit brighter and become a little bit greener. So thank you so much for the invitation. I'm really excited to be here with you all today.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Sarah. And to all the candidates who just gave their opening remarks. And now we'll be moving on to our next, that was everybody here, right? Yep. And excuse me, we're going to be doing the prepared questions now, and I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Antoinette Dunnigan.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate you taking the time out to address us today. So with that vein, I'm not going to waste any time. We are going to make sure that we are good stewards of the time that we have here together. So we're going to kind of rotate from, I'm going to try to remember from the last to the first, because we started with one. So the question for each of the candidates, and you will have a 2-minute limit. First question is, what do you think is the main driver of food insecurities in Staten Island? And so I will start with Sarah.
Great question, Reverend Antoinette. Thank you so much for that. So I'd say it's actually a two-part answer. One is underemployment. We really need to bring more workforce jobs. We need to invest in the workforce sector. A lot of the projects I recently have been working with is with regards to recruitment and retention for clean energy jobs. Those are union track jobs, apprenticeship jobs. We need to bring more of those to the North Shore. The second thing I would say is access. When we talk about food justice, we're talking about whether or not your community is developed in a way where you have access to not just fresh produce, but culturally appropriate produce. So those two things are definitely lacking here on the North Shore. I've been really proud to be a part of a lot of pilot projects that do pop-up produce through my nonprofit organization that specializes in food sovereignty. And I think that we need not just more pilot projects like that, but we need more research that's really going to be able to help to evaluate the efficacy of those programs. And so that way we can fill in the gaps that we see on the North Shore. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So we will pass it on to, I believe, Cliff.
Sure, thank you.
And
Appreciate it.
and anybody can ask me to repeat the question, because I know sometimes our minds are full of so many things. So anytime you need me to repeat the questions, feel free. So Cliff, please share
Yes,
with me.
main drivers of food insecurity on Staten Island. Thank you. I was there. It was because of my employment. I was a non-union worker. Abu mentioned Staten Island is loaded with hardworking men and women trying to earn a livable wage. They're just not afforded that livable wage, right? Our salaries, nonprofit world, is not equitable. It's not a fair salary. It's not a living salary. But union work offers that salary. There have been quite a few developments recently here on Staten Island, quite a bit of development. And a lot of that, there are no PLAs, there are no union employment. It's all nonprofit, non-union employment, open market work, if you would. And those folks are not being paid a fair wage. And so we're seeing the fruits of that unfortunate labor, right? And that needs to change. People need a better salary. Sure, prices have risen, but salaries have not risen accordingly. And as the cost of food increases, so too the salary should be increased.
Thank you so much. Thank you for that insight, Cliff. And Abu, you're up.
Thank you very much for this outstanding question. When I went to a school of social worker, one of my professors say, before we can say how, we got to know the why, which is your question, which is what are the main drivers of food insecurity in the, in our community, not considering the North Shore, although the North Shore is a district that I'm running for city council. But the first answer I will provide you, number one, I think, is poverty and economic inequality. Many residents, including myself, all we can do is work. So I take 2 of my paycheck just to pay the rent. What did I have left? Nothing. I don't remember the last time I went to the supermarket to buy food, honestly. So many residents like me live below the poverty line of work, low wage job without benefit. And some of them, it's a rising rent. I say the rent is a burden, right? And that is the main thing, the cost of living in New York City. Many families left, thousand and thousand go live in some suburb area. That we need to take it into account. And often though, these utility costs, we have also forced some families to choose between food and housing. Food is essential. When you have children, what are you gonna do? I think we have the answer. Now, the solution for me is we need to expand access to SNAP, to WIC, to emergency food program, to target outreach. And we need to empower and improve those CBO, community-based organization like Project Hospitality, Community Health Action with more funding. If elected, I will focus on that because they help us to bridge the gap. The lack of access of affordable, healthy food is another problematic. We need to fund and promote mobile market food co-ops and local farm stand like the one in St. George. How we can do that? That is a question.
2 minutes are up.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for that insight. Thank you, Abu. And so now, Frank, if you would not mind sharing, please, you're next.
Sure. I think the answer to the question about the root causes of hunger in Staten Island, I think they're multifaceted, honestly. I think if there was one cause and an easy solution and anybody could have just flicked a switch and solved it, I think somebody would have. I think on Staten Island, a lot of hunger is driven by fixed incomes. I think a lot of it is driven by rising costs of living. And to be honest, I think some of it is driven by a social safety net that at times seems more interested in bureaucracy than results. A lot of working families are doing everything right. They're working long hours, raising kids, paying taxes, and still finding it hard to get by. The root cause isn't a lack of effort from people. It's the high cost of everything, from groceries to housing and policies that make it harder to succeed.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so
Sure.
much. And next we will have, who do we have next? We have,
Cliff.
I don't see him on my screen.
Cliff is next.
Oh,
Antoinette.
okay, yes, yes. No, he went. Cliff went.
I think I might be next.
Okay.
Yes.
Pardon. I'm using my wife's Zoom account.
Oh, that's why I'm confused. Oh, I'm looking.
I will say that I was a little intimidated going last or next to last in this one, but it's going to make me sound so much smarter than I actually am after listening to all these great answers. As the only island-wide candidate, I get to approach this in a little bit of a different way. The North Shore being what it is, and we do have availability issues. We have accessibility issues on the North Shore. We also have educational issues on the North Shore, and that extends to the South Shore as well. As Frank mentioned, hunger is not a North Shore exclusive issue. It's an island-wide issue. We do have issues of underpayment. We saw last year, according to the Advance, the rise of people living below the poverty line on Staten Island increased by 20% last year. No matter what happens in regards to supply lines, supply chains, and prices in the supermarkets, that's going to make things a lot more difficult for people to be fed and well fed. We really do need to attack this from a whole of government approach. That means cutting red tape to make processes more efficient so that organizations such as yourselves can have a bigger impact in the community faster. We need to make it easier for people to access those services, and we need to make sure they know about it. I would love to see, and if elected borough president, I would lead the charge on an educational program throughout the island about the resources available, community food pantries, community kitchens, community refrigerators, and green markets such as the one we have in St. George, which is a treasure.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And so we will round it off with Mohan.
Thank you all. This is some of what drives the for the hunger. The people are not able to afford to eat and get access to the food. I agree with Mr. Morano. It depends upon various facts: lack of job opportunities, people don't have jobs, and also the lack of the government support for the for the community. There are other. I'm part of the interfaith and building bridges. All the churches, they all provide the food. Provide the food to the community, but this not the it's not enough. And I give a shout out to Project Hospitality. They're big on this. They're kind of help so many people this kind of food necessity. But we need to look further. Like today, I went to Manhattan. My office is there. I bought just a sandwich, and a muffin. Cost you $13, $14 almost with the taxes. How many people can afford that kind of a price? When you look at it, it's mind-boggling for me. I was thinking this is really not good for our economy. For this affordability to happen, your economy should catch up. You should be in a very good. The economy should be working good, so people get jobs, especially like Mr. Hagan said, union jobs. That's why the union jobs comes into role. That's one of the things that really I want to address here, bring more union jobs and give more affordability. People should be, in any way, they should be engaged. In any way, they make some living, some living wages you should get. The minimum, they should get the living wages, with which they can buy food, have their family in a good shape. And we need to create opportunities, resources, and government. This is one of the roles the government should be playing. We should provide food and make sure nobody goes hunger. We are the richest country in the world. I cannot even imagine that people are not having enough food to eat.
Your
Sorry.
time's up.
Thank
Sorry.
you.
Thank you so much to each of the candidates. And then I will turn it over to my co-moderator, Christopher, for the next question.
Right, thank you, Antoinette. And we're going to take a little bit of a left turn here and ask a question that I want to hear these answers very, very much. So the question is, the Department of Sanitation has a food rescue program that no one seems to know about. What would you do to promote this program? What other ideas do you have for making more food available to Staten Island pantries? So it's more of a two-part question. One is, what would you do about that program? And then, what would you do to get more food available? And I guess we'll just reverse the order again so that everybody has a little bit of time here. And I guess that means that we're going to have to start with you again, Mohan.
Sure. Food rescue program. I really didn't get to know full information. I don't have the full information on it, though, but I understand the concept of that. Food rescue program is to get if as an elected official, and I should be able to provide more support resources to the program, so that the program is equally, it is covered. And to get more food, I think something that I need to plan that through the community organizations and other resources, and especially what Professor Butts is doing and Project Hospitality is doing. We need to encourage those institutions to encourage them, give them more funding so that they continue to do what they're doing. That will provide more food resources for in the community. But I would say that the New York City Council, if I become a part of that, so that we should get the discretionary funding, make sure that these food rescue program is well funded, well organized, and it could cater the needs of the community. That's what I'll go with. Thank you.
I just want to say quickly, Susan Fowler, if you could maybe just give a couple sentences to the candidates about this program, because I don't know if all of them are well versed with it. I think that would be helpful.
Sure.
Yeah, that would be helpful because I'm just talking going by the name of that. Thank you.
The Department of Sanitation a few years ago created a program where food stores, supermarkets, etc. I think restaurants as well can donate. Well, it's basically a way to share information about food access. So if you're a restaurant or a supermarket and you have a bunch of food, you can post the information on their website, which I believe you all got in one of the many emails from Heather. And then if you're a pantry, you can go to the website and say, oh yeah, I want all those potatoes, or yeah, I want that cake, whatever it is. So this is a really interesting program. I think it's underused because it's not known about. And I think that there are other citywide programs that are not used to the degree that they could be. This is one real good example. Does that help?
And here, I'll read off exactly what's on the website if you want, so you can understand what the city says it is too, which is basically what Susan said. But Donate NYC Food Portal reduces the amount of edible food sent to landfill by connecting businesses and nonprofits with excess food to organizations that can use or redistribute it. This digital tool allows donors to post listings of available food, and an algorithm notifies the nearest eligible recipient organization that food is available. And there's a training video, etc. And it's who is eligible. Is the food pantry portal is designed for organization and businesses only, so no individuals. Any business, nonprofit, government agency, school, religious organization, or community group located within New York City is eligible to donate or receive food through the Donate NYC food portal. So individual residents wishing to donate their own excess food may search Donate NYC's online map to find locations throughout the city. That's basically a pretty straightforward explanation of it. But again, it seems like nobody knows about it. So I believe our next, Mohan, did you want to add anything?
Yeah, I would like to comment on this because
Sure.
this is what I want to know. Here I see that exactly what it needs. It needs more awareness of this program. If I know that there are so many programs out there, if you don't know how to connect the dots, that's where the success is. You have a very good, beautiful program like this, but people are not aware, and some initiative has to be taken. Especially in the modern age of communications, you have internet, you have so many ways of communication you can do to get this information out to those who really needs this information. That's where the success of this program comes. Once everybody knows about this program, then they can make the best use of that program. I think that will be the key for this program's success. Thank you.
Certainly, thank you. And continuing down the line, Mike Colombo, could you please comment on this question?
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Chris. As I said in my opening, education, making sure that people know about this program. This is actually a program that I love because it makes sense. New York City and Staten Island, we have such a food service industry that is just constantly wasting food that could go to feed people. We also, moving beyond just the most needy, as Frank mentioned, hunger on the South Shore is an issue. There are also low cost independent apps such as Too Good to Go, where people can log on, see what restaurants, or individuals can log on, see what restaurants or delis or supermarkets around them are selling, today's bagels or today's pizza at the end of a shift, to make sure that it goes to use, it's not just being thrown out, and B, it's affordable. As borough president, I would lead the education on this program, not only from the bully pulpit, but using the powers of using the powers of the borough presidency, I would love, we can also frame this as an environmental issue. Less waste equals less garbage in our landfills. And I would love to issue, the borough president certificates, to get restaurants and supermarkets and businesses to as close to zero waste as we can. And if we're helping feed people in that sense, the more power to them. I also feel that to appropriately entice businesses to participate in this, we do need to make sure that there are liability shields. As long as these organizations are working in good faith, they're not giving spoiled food. They should be protected should anything happen, just as a way to entice and make this more palatable to smaller businesses that could worry about that, and lead that to curtail their participation.
Okay. I just want to add there are shield laws in New York State already for food donations. So that's not really a problem. Next. Chris, you're muted.
I hit that space bar. Sorry about that. Frank Morano, you are up, sir.
Thank you. It's funny. You're exactly right about the Department of Sanitation Food Rescue Program. I consider myself a pretty well-informed citizen, and I didn't know about it. And I consider myself a pretty well-informed councilman, and I have to be honest, up until today, I didn't know about it. And I think if you ask the average Staten Islander or even the local business owner, they've never heard of it. And I think that's a major problem. We have a city program that could be getting perfectly good surplus food into the hands of people who need it, and it's sitting in the dark. So the first thing I do and will do is shine a spotlight on it. Literally, that means working with all sorts of local groups, the South Shore Bid, local civic associations, the community board, even neighborhood Facebook groups, to let restaurants, caterers, grocers, grocery stores, bakeries know that this program exists and how they can take part without risking any legal headaches. It also means asking the Department of Sanitation to do a much better job of outreach, especially here on Staten Island, where programs often get announced in Manhattan and then forgotten about by the time they reach the Outerbridge crossing. Second, I'd make it easier for businesses to participate based on the a little bit of research I did right before this forum started, literally. A lot of owners, I think, do worry about liability, logistics, and city red tape. So let's simplify it. Let's offer a clear one-page guide for food businesses explaining how to donate safely and responsibly. And let's explore maybe creating a small tax incentive or recognition program, as potential future Borough President Colombo indicated, for those who participate. It doesn't have to be a financial windfall. Even something as simple as a window decal that says proud partner in feeding Staten Island can go a long way towards building participation and community pride. And I'm happy to have my office take the lead on that. Now, in terms of expanding food access to local pantries, I think Staten Island can and should lead the way on piloting a borough-specific food redistribution hub. Think of it as a central depot where restaurants, groceries, even schools can donate surplus food and pantries can pick it up in a more coordinated way. We could even partner with delivery services or volunteer drivers to get food
Mr.
where
Moreno.
it's, yeah.
Your time's up. I mean, you're making a lot
I'm sorry. I knew this was going to happen. I apologize. I get excited and I just start going. Thank you. I'll endeavor to. I'm happy to talk with more about this after the forum with anybody that wants to talk more about it.
You see what happens when you put time constraints on radio personalities?
We actually talked about
thank you.
at the Hunger Task Force meeting, so good to know that you're on top of that. Christopher.
Thank you. And our next candidate up is Abu Dakate, please.
Thank you, Chris. Frank, don't worry. I learned from my my lesson. I'm going to be in the time frame of 2 minutes. So I know when I started my journey here in America, I work in a restaurant, right? And I learned from there because I witnessed it myself. At the end of my shift, I am the one that dragged the bag outside with good food, good bagel, good croissant. And there was some local organization that came with their van to collect it. And grateful. And my rationale about this is connecting the dot is what is the goal and the benefit of this great initiative. I stand for a broader zero waste and sustainable effort. We have organizations in Staten Island like Project Hospitality, and Reverend Troyer can tell me about this. She is an example and champion of go collecting good food that will be distributed in the community, and I am one of them who goes and knock door and distribute food. Yes, reduce food waste should be a must. Rescuing surplus food can be beneficial in our community, and if elected, I will make sure that we put in place a mechanism that will allow restaurants who will participate in this initiative, caterer, grocery, and food vendors to educate them about the importance of food. Yes, New York City Department of Sanitation, partnering with other local organizations will help us to bridge the gap, thinking about city harvest, retained food, and those leftover food can be beneficial in our community. And we can help by empowering those organizations with additional funding so they can champion this great initiative. Appreciate you all.
Thank you, Abu. And now we move on to Cliff Hagan, please.
Yes, thanks, Chris. So if any of you had had the pleasure of watching or listening to any of the many conversations that Frank and I, the very public conversations Frank and I have had, you will recognize that we have often agreed on a lot of things. And again, here we agree. This is something the city should be applauded for. It's a fabulous idea, though it's not quite implemented to its fullest, right? Doing a quick search of the Donate NYC, in District 51, there are only 6 organizations, a couple of churches and a few businesses that are signed up. That's unacceptable. If this has been around a couple of years, only 6 throughout the entire South Shore. There are only 5 food pantries on the entire South Shore, and their food pantries are packed. And I'm sure those organizations signed up for NYC donation are doing very well. But there needs to be more. As Frank had suggested, there needs to be more education throughout the community. There's a lot of logistics, I'm sure, involved with making this happen. And as Frank suggested, a tax subsidy. I was thinking the same, that the labor that goes into within the business, organizing this food, bagging it up, boxing it up, removing it from the store into trucks, getting it to where it needs to be, that's a lot of work. Somebody's paid for that work, and these organizations, these businesses would be footing that tab, and it would only be right that the city should subsidize them in some regard, tax subsidy, some sort of break for that work, for that good community investment. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you, Cliff. And now to our last candidate, Sarah Bloss, please.
Thanks so much, Chris. So I'm intimately familiar with this program. We've had great success connecting the organization Free Food for the Homeless that happens to service the 5 boroughs, but also really does put a dent in feeding the unhoused population on Staten Island. I'm also the co-founder of the Afro-Caribbean Food and Latinx Spice Market in Tompkinsville Park. Will be reopening this fall. So if you haven't visited our pilot, please come on down and visit us. Mike, I know that you talked about the St. George Green Market. It's one of my favorite places to be, but we got a lot of community feedback that said some of the herbs and the spices and the veggies that a lot of our diverse population on the North Shore was looking for, they couldn't find at that Green Market. So that's what the Green Market is all about. We will be providing this as a resource, but I just want to flag, even though this is a great program and we do need to continue to promote it, we will be promoting it at our Green Market. I'll continue to promote it with the CBOs that I work with. There is an issue of fridge and storage space. because you don't know oftentimes how much you're picking up. And so we've been working and connecting grants to existing food pantries and other CBOs so they can increase their food storage space so they can fully participate in this program.
Great. Well, thank you all so much for your insightful answers. And I'm going to turn it back over to my co-moderator, Antoinette, for the next question.
Thank you so much, Chris. So our next question is, there is a mayor's office of food policy that has done extensive community engagement to create and modify programs and plans, including a 10-year food policy plan. What key opportunities do you think need to be amplified by the mayor's office of food policy? And so I will start with Sarah.
Thanks for that really great question. So I have a very close relationship with the Mayor's Office of Food Policy. I've worked with other community-based organizations to actually host them, working with hospitals, our local hospitals, to do food demonstrations. I worked very closely when I was managing the Child Wellness Initiative for the Staten Island Partnership for Community Wellness as we were working on obesity related illnesses with regard to food access. I believe there is a little bit of a disconnect. They have some great policies in thought, but oftentimes when you create things from the top bottom, it really is missing the lived experiences of what folks are experiencing on the ground. I would love to see more community involvement when those policies are formed, more community participation, certainly some more surveys that go out as the policies are being created, not afterward. And I think it's a great program, and I'd love to see it to continue to succeed with some more community involvement.
Thank you so much for that. We shall move on to Cliff.
Yes, thank you. So I was happy to see that at least in this year's proposed budget, $31.6 million offered for food insecurity, CFPs, LFPAs. I think that's a start to at least maintain that level of funding. I think Frank could help us with that, with a vote to maintain that level of funding. And if not just leveled, increased, right? The community food connections need to be supported. Unfortunately, the federal government seems poised to take back over $1 billion, right? The USDA is looking to cut and take back nearly $1 billion from these food programs. Our city council members, our representatives here on Staten Island need to be fighting tooth and nail at the state level, making sure, I mean, for example, Jessica Spanton-Scarcella, Mike Riley, both receive endorsements from UFT, the folks put in charge of caring for our children, the children who are hungry, and they need to be held accountable. That money needs to be found and sent to the city to make sure that our children are fed. And that's something I would work on in city council. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Cliff, for that. So can we move on to Abul? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Antoinette. I mean, seeing this plan, I guess this initiative is called Food Forward New York City, which really bring effort to think about sustainability. As someone who worked at the United Nations, worked in the SDG, which is the Sustainable Development Goal. Prior to that was MDG, which is known worldwide as a Millennium Development Goal. This plan is a sustainability and have a healthy food for New York City by 2031. That was the goal of this initiative. Now, there is some key goal that we can talk about, and one of them I can share with you, which is strengthening the food economy and create good job by that. But as a city council, I always reflect if there is any given initiative to think about the progress and of that initiative. Today, because I think this initiative was implemented in 2020 or 2021, it's very important that we see in terms of number, qualitative and quantitative, what this initiative has brought in our community when it comes to food connection program. This is one thing. And second thing is in terms of nutrition and security program, because we have to take that into account because it's different layers of the Staten Island community, including school, because we talk about meal enhancement is every single school and no school should be left behind. How we can revise also the food standard. Now, one of the things I can say is we need to improve more about modernizing and resilient supply chain in our community. And that required more money because $1 will not run New York City. And that dollars will be added to those local organizations that are tirelessly making effort to bridge that gap. So if elected, I will look at this initiative and see how far they impact the New York City community and take it from there for way forward. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Abu. Greatly appreciate it. And now we will move on to Frank.
Thank you, Antoinette. The mayor's office of food policy has done a lot of planning, but what Staten Islanders care about most is results. I think that's what we all care about. And the biggest opportunity I see is making sure all that planning actually reaches the people who need it, especially in the outer boroughs. One area that should be amplified is strengthening local food infrastructure. I'm sure Reverend Troya and the rest of you on the Hunger Task Force aspect of things can speak to this better than I can, but I think that means investing more in cold storage, transportation, and staffing for pantries so that when food's available, it can be stored and distributed effectively. Right now, we have groups turning away donations in some cases because they don't have the capacity to handle them. Secondly, I'd like to see a real focus on working with small businesses. We've got dozens of delis, bakeries, restaurants, and groceries on Staten Island that are willing to help, but the city rarely makes it easy for them. So let's give them clear, simple ways to donate food, recognize the ones who do. It's good for business and great for the community. And finally, I'd urge the mayor's office to spend more time listening in places like Staten Island, where hunger exists but often looks different than it does in Manhattan or the Bronx. That kind of engagement isn't just helpful, it's really essential if you want a food policy that works for all 5 boroughs, not just 2 of them.
Thank you so much. And we will, oh, yes. Oh, you fixed it.
I did.
Thank you so much. Yes, thank you so much, Mike. And we will hand it off to you.
Thank you so much, Antoinette. It's true. The mayor's office of food policy has a very ambitious 10-year plan. In looking at their 2-year results report, there were a lot of gray spots that said that there has been no action taken yet. This is not only on long-term goals, but mid-range goals and short-term goals. I think focusing on what the goals of the office are and should be would go a long way in helping them make sure that these things are happening. Part of that could be listening more to stakeholders and shareholders, making sure that the people who need this assistance are being asked how they need to get it and what works for them. Community involvement, really relying on the stakeholders in programs to help guide where it goes, should be Civics 101. We need to get back to the idea of rewarding common sense solutions and really making sure that we are evaluating programs for results, not just for talking good game. That, as borough president, that's going to be a big part of what I aim to accomplish and bring back to Staten Island. And that is making sure that the organizations that are doing the work and doing it well get the funding that they need to continue that good work. We also need to improve community buy-in. We've got some community pantries and fridges here on Staten Island, specifically on the North Shore, that are, like Frank said, they're turning away they're turning away donations because they don't have enough space. Or we have refrigerators that our store owners are refusing to plug in, where they are refusing to help, and that is making it so that we are unable to provide perishable foods to people, only non-perishable, which if you are dealing with housing insecurity, non-perishable food might not be the best option for you because there's not a lot of options to cook it. So we need community buy-in. We need to increase that community aspect of it so that we are helping each other out more so than we are relying on other people to help.
Thank you.
Thank you for that.
And we're gonna chop up some shallots and
Antoinette, you're
oh, I muted myself. Sorry. Mohan, please.
Thank you. I just wanted to look at this as a food policy. The New York City has this food policy, but again, any policy that is brought out by the city has to be looked at the effectiveness of that. If there's no the policy that what the city passes on with it doesn't have any effectiveness, it's a total failure. So you need to look at the whole the food policy program, how it is conceived, whether it encompasses all the 5 boroughs, the needs of the 5 boroughs, and what are the logistics it needs. Is the storage, supporting, and distribution. You need to look at all that, and looking at all that, you see where some improvements can be made. And again, like we went back on the other program, we need to make sure it is widely known. It has to be communicated properly about the food policies and how the government can implement this food policy. But I think it's hand in like both the community and the city has to work together on this. It's a success of the government policy also depends on the community support on that. So both community and the government should work together and make this food policy work effectively. And it should address a lot of other concerns also. Food policy has to include, especially the children and the health issues, how this food policy, whether that includes the concerns of the health of the children, health of the community, all this has to be part of that policy. And I said, tell you, there is a 501c3 program for the disabled and the veterans. It is also a window program. It is not effectively implemented by the government. A lot of disabled people are there. They're not getting the kind of support from the job opportunities what they can get, and the veterans, they should get those support. They're not getting that. So we don't want the window shopping policies from the government. It has to be effectively implemented for the success and for the benefit of the community. That's what I'll if I get into the city council, this is what I'll focus on. Make sure that policy, whatever is implemented, effectively works. Otherwise, it's a window shopping. That's all it is. Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you so much. And thank you all for answering our questions. I believe we have 2 more questions and we have time allotted for it. And if our 2 members of the task force are able, we can have them ask the question directly because they are very passionate about their question. And we want you to hear their passion and feel their heart. So Reverend Toya, are you available to ask your question?
I remember my question, but I'm not sure that I remember my question. Was it the CFC question?
That is it. That was it. Yes.
Oh, okay. So, I'm looking to see who this wouldn't apply to. This wouldn't apply to the borough president candidates, but or maybe to give input. So there's a program that the city sponsored called Community Food Connection. It is it's not direct money to the food pantries. It is money that goes to a distributor whose name I can't remember at this time. And about $33 million or $30 million was set aside this year by the mayor for this program. And then pantries who got an allocation through CFC were able to order food as needed up to the amount of the award, your allocation awards. It might have been $10,000 or $15,000 worth of dry good foods primarily. So the city council has, in this budget process now that's going on, at this very moment, has urged that it be raised to $100 million in an allocation. Certainly, that would be a great help to our food pantries on Staten Island that get CFC allocation, because it will provide more food to the pantries in a time of unprecedented hunger need. So I just wondered if you had heard of this, to enlighten you to it, and to ask if elected to city council, if you would consider supporting an increase over the mayor's recommendation of $30 million or whatever that is to $100 million support for food pantries in the distribution of food.
And we can start with Mohan.
Thank you. Um, we'll just certainly do. I think this is the best I think we all discussed here, and how many people are suffering with the lack of food, access to food. And this is the best program. I mean, the best way to put your money. The city can add money to this program. 30 millions, 100 millions for a city of this size. It's a what do you call it? A drop in the bucket. You know. I think $100 million can be very well used to make sure that each and everybody gets whoever needs need of food, that can be made sure that they get it. I would definitely support, as I'm being part of all the other community charity organizations. This would be my first priority. If there is a program that needs to be supported, I'll be there. And I would not only support, but I'll make other city council people also to support this program. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Terry, who else did you say was qualified to answer these questions? Because you did.
City council, people running for city council, of course, because
Okay.
it's a city council allocation, but the borough presidents can be supportive by verbally supporting it to their city council people.
Yeah, I'd love to comment, Terry.
Yes, please.
So this is the first I'm hearing about it. I love it. I love the idea of going above and beyond what the mayor is asking for. This is a very important topic. I will kind of disagree with my friend Mohan a little bit. When he said that $100 million is a drop in the bucket, $100 million is a lot of money. And I think we've seen over the past several years that we don't know what's coming around the corner. So just throwing around any sort of dollar figures and calling it a drop in the bucket, we need to be prepared not only for what's going on today, but for what's going on tomorrow. If we were going to pass this at $100 million, which I would be supportive of, I would love to see the eligibility, what pantries are eligible to be a part of this, expanded so that we can encompass as many different areas and different neighborhoods as possible. I also want to make sure that there are the appropriate audit protections to make sure that the funds are being used correctly and to go towards the reason that they're being allocated, and not going towards anything that's not going to go directly benefit the hungry population of New York and Staten Island specifically. Thank you.
Can I answer Mr. Columbus' question? He said it's the way I meant it is to the extent, the size of the city. New York City is the biggest city, one of the biggest city in the world, right? So, and also the needs, hunger needs of people. That when you compare the need, the size of the city, I would say definitely that's a small amount. I think if you want to really do a good program of that, you want to patch some immediately or some kind of a need. That's if it's called a real program, it's real money investment. That's how it's the way I introduce the size of city and also the need, the hunger need of the city. Thank you.
Thank you, Mohan. I appreciate that. We appreciate that so much. Frank, would you like to address this question?
Sure. So for the first part of Terry's question, I was not aware of the proposal to raise the CFCs from 30 million to 100 million. I'd certainly look at it. It is a big jump from 30 million to 100 million. And I think the intention behind it is good, making sure that no New Yorker goes hungry. The number isn't what matters most to me. because I don't know what the magic number is that makes it most effective, 30 million, 40 million, 50 million, or 100 million. What matters to me most is accountability and effectiveness. If we're talking about funding that's directly helping food pantries and community kitchens feed people, real people, with low overhead, good stewardship, and local partnerships, then yes, I'd absolutely support increasing the budget. But I want to make sure every dollar is going to feed a person, not feed a bureaucracy. I'd also want to see some of that funding reserved for critical needs like refrigeration, storage space, and staffing. So our community partners aren't just surviving on donations and duct tape, but that there's some infrastructure there. And I'd push to make sure Staten Island is getting its fair share. Too often programs get announced citywide and we're the last borough to benefit. So I'm open to raising the budget, but only if we can guarantee the money's being used wisely, going where it's needed most, and helping the people doing the actual work on the ground.
Thank you so much. Would we have an input from Cliff? Did we hear from you? Let's hear your voice on this subject.
Thank you,
And
dear.
we need to hear from Abu as well.
Abu as well, yes. So I did mention CFCs before in my previous response because they did do some research. I learned quite a bit about the CFCs and the LFPAs. And again, unfortunately, the federal government seems to be stealing money from New York. They're taking it back. And so our local farmers are not going to be subsidized, and that locally grown food from the LFPA is not going to be coming to the city, to our CFCs. On the South Shore of Staten Island, District 51, there are just five of the 100 throughout the city. There are just 5 in the South Shore of Staten Island. And those 5 are active. There's one right around Frank and I live a few blocks from each other, and Frank on the corner is Sycamore and Richmond Avenue, the Calvary Church. Sure. You probably see the line of folks there as well. There are people, they're not taking buses, they're not driving cars, they're people from our community that rely on these CFCs. Right now, I believe the number is 36.1 is the agreed to proposed number to fund CFCs. Asking for 100 million, I hear you. I think it's more important, or maybe just as important, that we find jobs for people, good paying jobs with livable wages. And we have to the city is experiencing a huge boom in development. There are people working all over the place, building skyscrapers, building homes, unfortunately building ADUs. And all of those, the majority of those people are not union workers, and that needs to be fixed. They're not being paid a livable wage, and that is unacceptable. City councils should be all over that. And they should use some of that extra $69 million and find a way to make sure that there is union work being done in New York City. That will better address the need for food insecurity. Unfortunately, there are too many people who don't have enough food, but they need jobs. I think that's where our focus should be.
Thank you so much, and we will round it off with Abu.
Thank you, Antoinette. And I wanted to give kudos to Reverend Troyer for this great question. When it comes to that initiative, I think the purpose we all know is fighting food insecurity in our community. Therefore, if elected, I will definitely advocate, for more funding when it comes to that initiative, because fresh food, nutritious food in New York City, the need is here. So we have evidence-based where more funding is needed. However, now, with all this thing going on at the federal level, we know that CFC will be affected when it comes to future funding, which is my concern. Now, the current funding may be 50 million, 57 million is the budget agreement. But in the future now, if we want to create sustainable effort, how we can come up with, increasing this program budget, which help a lot of local organizations. I see Reverend Faith Togba is here, who is doing a good job providing food on Bay Street. Reverend Troyer, all these local organizations, we need to think a minute about what are those specific criteria that will allow those local organizations to qualify to get those line of credit. Because most of them, they run out of food at a particular moment, and they don't have no additional funding to actually meet the needs of the Staten Island community who struggle to put bread on the table. Yes, there have been discussion about reducing this program budget. This is where I wanted to bring your attention about it. What we can do to champion and to advocate so that budget will not be reduced, because the outcome of this initiative bridges the gap. And I think such a reduction could significantly impact the program ability to serve the city vulnerable
Your time's up.
population.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you so much to all the candidates. Delia, are you able to share your question?
I know she had a family thing going on too. So I
Right,
don't
she had
know
a
if she
family
was
thing
able
going on.
to
Exactly.
stay on and listen at this point.
We could probably go to closing because I know Frank has to leave in a couple of minutes.
Yeah, sorry about that. I just have one other thing at 7:30, so I'm good for
Okay.
about another 9 minutes.
Okay, Frank, I just wanted to echo the comments from before. I got to tell you that having you here makes it a very rich, multi party event. And so
Yeah.
for that, I want to say thank you for being
Oh,
here.
thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to speak anywhere, especially here. And if I said anything or my participation leads me to losing the Republican primary in 20 days, then I guess lesson learned for the next guy.
Then you won't be as happy.
Frank, there'll be a spot for you in my borough hall. Don't worry.
Thank you. I may take you up on that.
I think that some of the conversation here we should follow through over with during our meetings, Hunger Task Force meetings.
Yeah, so I'm gonna hand it back over to Chris and Antoinette for final wrap ups with the closing. So Frank, if you'd like to go first, great. But I echo Susan. We're gonna do some, just final announcements at the end. But I just want all the candidates to remember that we meet the first Monday of every month from 3:30 to 4:30. Our last meeting for the summer was last week, but we're gonna meet again in September. You're all more than welcome to come to our meetings. And I agree with Susan that some of the topics today we're going to revisit both in those meetings and also over the summer as we brainstorm as an executive board about other things we want to do. So I want to thank you because this has allowed us to be able to think about some of these issues in ways that we, really haven't been able to as a group. And so we would love to invite all of you to come back. And, we look forward to working with all of you on these very important issues. So thank you. Okay, I'm going to hand it over to you, Chris and Antoinette, for wrap up and close the closing statements from the candidates.
Absolutely. Antoinette, you want me to take it from here?
Absolutely, Chris.
I know you did it, the extra question there. So, well, again, thank you, everybody. And we're going to move to our closing remarks section now. Excuse me. I don't know why my voice is losing today, but so again, the same rules apply. Just 2 minutes to say your piece. It doesn't have to necessarily be wrapped around food insecurity at this point. And again, thank you so much. And Frank, if everybody doesn't mind, we'll start with you so you can get on your merry way.
Thank you. Thank you again to everybody here on the Staten Island Hunger Task Force for hosting this forum and for the important work that you're doing, not just in one part of the borough, but across all of Staten Island, including the South Shore, where I'm proud to serve. And I'm looking forward to working with everybody here to deal with the food insecurity problem that we have. We've talked about food rescue, expanding pantry access, smarter funding, and the city's long-term food policy plans. Those are important. But at the end of the day, this is simple. No New Yorker, no Staten Islander should go hungry, especially not in a city with this much food and this many resources and this many good people willing to help. Now, I might be the only Republican here, and I'm proud of that. because helping people eat doesn't have a party label. I believe we can care for the hungry and still be responsible stewards of taxpayer dollars. I believe we can cut red tape and still increase compassion. I believe Staten Islanders don't need another task force to tell them about caring for their neighbors. They already do. What they need is a government that gets out of the way when necessary, steps in when appropriate, and always listens to the people on the front lines, like the pantry volunteers, faith leaders, local organizers doing the work every day. I've only been in office 5 weeks, but I've already made clear I'll work with anyone, Democrat, Republican, Independent, doesn't matter, if it means making sure fewer people go to bed hungry. So thank you for the conversation, for your commitment, and for letting me be a part of the solution and the discussion. Good night.
Good
Bye-bye.
night, Megan.
Thank you.
Thank you, Frank.
Good night. Thank you.
Okay, so we'll do it in the order of the district race, I guess then. So we'll move to Cliff. So he was the other one for the 51st.
The only other one.
Yeah.
All right. So I appreciate that. So again, yes, I'm Cliff Hagan, candidate for the city council, representing all of the people in District 51. Thank you once again for this opportunity to share with you all. It's a critical time in our community struggles. Thank you for your prodding, insightful questions. It was terrific. Hopefully we generated some new ideas here tonight. Thank you to my colleagues, everybody here who joined the conversation tonight. Anyone willing to run for public office, anyone seeking to serve the community is someone I admire and respect. And I think we all share that. So thank you all for your leadership in the community. Lastly, I reiterate once again, I can't say it often enough because it can't be said often enough. If just one child in our community is hungry, then we all bear that burden. No one should have to go hungry. It's awful. Staten Island Hunger Task Force continues to take the challenges of food insecurity, and I thank you for your commitment to our community. I appreciate this opportunity to speak with you all, and I look forward to working with you in the future. Right? There's more to do. Unfortunately, there'll be more to do for too long, but I'll be there with you. I'll be standing right next to you. So thank you for the time tonight.
Thank you, Cliff. We really appreciate you being here. And moving down to the 50th, Mohan.
Thank you all, especially Hunger Task Force. I think you're really doing a great job. In the beginning, I didn't touch base on that. I really appreciate for organizing this meeting and let us share our thoughts and to address some of your questions. And this is a great privilege, I believe, and it's a start of our candidate forums, and we'll pick it up from here. I'm very much passionate what you're doing. I'm already into this type of charity efforts. I'm the CIFA coordinator. That is, CIFA is State Employee Federated Appeal. I'm the coordinator in my office. I raise funds from our employees, from our office. Like on the top, I raised $162,000. What I do with the money is I used to give to different vets and I give it to Meals on Wheels. I give out this funding to all the other charities who really does that. So that's my passion. I've been doing that for the last 20 years in the office. And here in Staten Island, that's I would definitely partner with Hunger Task Force, and we can make a difference. I think this is something I would like to really be part of that. See whatever we could do, especially for the younger children. Other day there is a program for when Mr. Nigel came to. I'm the chair of the youth committee of this community board one. And the way this gentleman who's taking care of the kids, they're taking care of their food need and also their no the way they dress and all that. They give them the dress and they give them the food and their lack of funds. This is what I said. Where the money is going everywhere. This is not meeting the needs of the young children who's coming to the attending school. They don't have food because the family could not provide them the food. They come hungry to the school. So this is something. It is really bothers me. And this is the first time I heard when we had a meeting with this gentleman. So this is something goes to the bottom of my heart. I think hungerness is the no child, like Cliff. I agree with Cliff. Even one
Mohan,
child go without the food, that
is up.
reflects on all of us. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mohan, and we appreciate you being here. It's very, very important that we have great representation throughout the island. And finally, for the city council races, we have Abu for the 49th.
Thank you, Christopher. I wanted to say thank you to Staten Island and the task force. This campaign is about all of us. It's about ensuring that every Staten Islander has a voice and a stake in our future. Food insecurity is not just about empty stomachs. It's about broken system. In our borough, as diverse and resilient as Staten Island North Shore, no family should have to choose between paying rent and putting food on the table. I believe in a future where our community have access to fresh, healthy, and culturally appropriate food, because I stand for equity. And thank you to Project Hospitality, Community Health Action, all these community-based organizations making sure that the dignity of our residents are not taken away. Where local organizations are empowered, not stretched thin, they need more funding. If elected, I will be there for them. I will be their voice, and I will make sure that additional funding hit their door. Not just during our campaign session that we can make promise, but I can promise you that I will do my best, because when it comes to hungry, I'm nobody's friend. When it comes to people health, I'm nobody's friend. But every single day, we have to work to better our community. This work requires more than a talk. It requires leadership rooted in compassion, in emptiness, empathy, and also accountability and action. That's the leadership I bring. And together, I know we can build a North Shore where every neighbor is fed, valued, and heard. Thank you, and let's keep pushing forward together. Appreciate you all.
Well, thank you so much, Abu, for your kind comments and talking about the North Shore's needs. And we'll wrap up with our borough president race with Mike Colombo.
Once again, going last is really playing to my advantage here. I got to listen to all of these fantastic closings. Thank you to the Staten Island Hunger Task Force for assembling this group of individuals who are just so focused on public service. Every corner of our island, North, Mid Island, South Shore, entire island. As Cliff said, one empty stomach is too many. Food security, food in general, it's a labor of love, and we come from an island and a people where that love is expressed in many different ways. What we need to do, and what I am committed to doing as borough president, is educating Staten Islanders about the resources and organizations available to help them if they need it, supporting the organizations that are doing the work, rewarding results and not rewarding bureaucracy, helping remove the red tape that prevents those organizations from doing the work. And we also need to think a little bit outside the box. I would love to, as borough president, lean in, get our borough hall into urban farming, get them into, I would love to bring a borough president's 4-H club to Staten Island to show just that there are options that maybe our landscape doesn't lend itself to on first glance, but at second and third glance, those are the type of things that could work here. I also think we need to acknowledge the elephant in the room, now that our Republican colleague is no longer with us, and that is the budget battle that's currently going through Congress. The federal government is moving to cut SNAP benefits by hundreds of millions of dollars. We need to be doing everything we can to be supporting our senators in passing a better bill, and then going back to our representatives to pass a reconciliation bill that is still compassionate and still accomplishes the things that they say they want to accomplish and they need the support for, but also protecting our most vulnerable. We should not be cutting programs for our most vulnerable. What that does is it just leads more to this stigma that if you're hungry, you're doing something wrong. You could be doing everything right and still be hungry. We need to help, and it's through that education and through these programs and just a whole of government approach that we will remove the stigma. We will take away that feeling that hunger means you're doing something wrong. Everybody's hungry. It's just we have different ways of going about fixing that, and we need to open up those avenues for everybody. Make it easier, not only for those most in need to get fresh, affordable food, but also for those not in need, because it's still, food is still the main driver of heart disease, diabetes, things that are still affecting our communities, no matter what the income level looks like. Food is love. Food is a whole of body, a whole of government approach. And that's what I want to bring back to Borough Hall. Thank you again for everyone for organizing this, for participating, and for the invitation. I really do appreciate it and the opportunity to speak to you.
Well, thank you, Mike. And we again really appreciate you coming today. Thank you so much. And I turn it back over to Heather Butts, our chair of the Hunger Task Force.
All right, I'll be brief, and if the Hunger Task Force members could stay on for a moment, that would be great after we finish. Just want to thank everybody. I want to thank our moderators. Thank you to Chris Dowling and Antoinette Dunnigan for doing an incredible job. Huge thank you to Susan Fowler for keeping us on time. I knew you would. I had no doubt. Thank you to the rest of the members here. I know Terry Troya had to jump off. Thank you, Delilah, for being here. I also want to give a shout out to the Honorable Jazzy Robinson, who is here. And also I see several other members of the community, including, oh, he just left. But I just want to thank everybody that was here tonight. These are the kind of events that don't happen in a vacuum. And we have to have people who are able to, do this kind of work. So thank you. I feel like I hear myself in feedback loop. In any event, the final thing is to all the candidates. Appreciate you so much. There's lots of other things you could have been doing with your time, but you were here and you were giving us your time. And so we appreciate you very much. And we're very thankful that you were here. A couple of quick announcements. We have a few events coming up. So Staten Island Hunger Task Force and the Fairy Hawks are doing hunger-free days at the Fairy Hawk Stadium. The next one is June 12th, supporting the Gerard Carter Center Pantry. The entry fee is a non-perishable good. They're looking for granola bars or boxes of cereal. So you don't have to have a ticket. You just come with a non-perishable item and you get access to the game. So we have 5 of these games coming up in partnership with the Fairy Hawks. Would love to see you there, and we can get you the schedule. We are also having an event on June 10th, which is Zaina Flutie from the American Heart Association will be talking to us about healthy hearts and some of the ways that AHA is going to be helping at pantries. And then this is a little far off, but in October 31st, we are going to be partnering with the College of Staten Island on a Hunger-Free Campus Act forum. So the Hunger-Free Campus Act is an act that is sitting in the Assembly right now. Assembly member Rosenthal is the sponsor, and it helps with hunger on college campuses. So we will be doing a forum with CSI, and we'll be inviting several elected officials as well. And so we'll obviously be inviting all of you. So that's October. So those are the events that are coming up most quickly. Did I miss any other events that we're having? Any of the members that we should mention before we sign off? I don't think so. All right. Again, thank you to all of the candidates. We appreciate you being here. As Susan mentioned, we'll be following up on several of these items, and we'll be engaging you as we do that follow-up. So please stay tuned. We hope to continue the dialogue with each and every one of you. And you really made this a special event. You always wonder how events are going to go, but this one exceeded expectations, and it's because of all of you. So I really enjoyed it, and thank you for all your contributions. Okay.
Thank you for organizing.
Thanks,
Thank you.
everybody. Of course. Thank you. All right. And Hunger Task Force members, please stay on.
Thank you so much. Have a great rest of your evening.
Thank you.